Nothing here is black and white. Nothing here is black and
Morning, afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Week's off to a good start. Steve, how you doing, mate? Vlad, good to see you. Get this chat window sorted out. Yeah, all good, all good. Okay. What have you been up to today, Vlad? You been walking? Shooting? What have you been up to? Normally out there being active? Nice. Right, let's just check who posted an image. Looking good there. Hey Norm, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by, hanging out. Appreciate it. Actually sunny here. My goodness. Yeah. Oh, you posted an image right now, Vlad? Oh, nice. Yeah. I was going to say it usually does get quieter in terms of posts when the weather gets better. Evenings are getting longer. People spending time outside rather than in here watching me. Let's have a look. Who is in now? Got Sterling. Sterling, did I just see a message from you? I'm not sure. I just saw it pop up as a notification on my phone, but I just saw a message from you. Was it in relation to the stream or something, or? Shot the breeze. Haven't seen you in a bit. I got to keep track of everybody's different names on different platforms, so I apologize if I know who you are. Shot the breeze. If you're like I know your name on Facebook or on Instagram or drinking. Oh no way. That sucks, Steve. Lemsip. Good times, man. Good times. Yeah. Like we all know it's a placebo though, right? Like we all do it. We all have that lem set, but we all know it does absolutely nothing. Yeah. Shot the Breeze has been following for a minute. Oh, really? Okay, cool. How long, roughly? Are you like one of the OGs from, before color gels was cool, or? I mean, obviously it's still cool. Seeing how you doing, man? Thanks for the road light discount code. Got a couple £100 off. Oh, nice, nice. Which ones did you get? That's awesome. Yeah, wicked. And when did you order them? Have you got them yet? Have you played with them? Yeah. 5 or 6 years, long time, Breeze. Yeah, long time. Nice. Crazy times, right? We've been through a lot of madness. Well, with COVID, lockdown, virtual shoots. What do we have? Then we had the whole AI mess that we're in right now. People moving. Yeah, you would have been around for like the flash to LED transition as well. Not quite long enough for the mirrorless expedition that everybody's going through or went through, apart from me. Yeah, man. DM me on Instagram, switching my brand up. Okay, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, do it. Yeah. It's good stuff, man. Since says EOS Traveler Kit. Oh, nice. Sweet, man. So the Traveler Kit is... What is it? Two lights? Two EOS? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Just got them for a few days. Got a day shoot booked tomorrow. Can see if I make them work. Okay, so when you say day shoot, you day shoot inside? Day shoot outside. And have you tested the flash yet, Sin? Have you... seen what the or have you tried to make the flash work? Yeah. I forgot you guys are just looking at a big screen on my face. I apologize. There you go. Oh, inside and out. Nice. Okay, whole day shoot. Sweet, man. Yeah, sweet. Is it a shoot that you've organized? Like, is there a little bit of breathing room, or is it like, it's a commercial job and you got to pretend like you know what you're doing? Like the rest of us. Yeah, true. It's Wibbly. Oh, it is you, Wibbly. I know that original Sin is always in here, but yeah, I'm terrible, man, at trying to place everything together. But yeah, it's you. Nice, man. Nice, cool. Because what were you shooting before then, Wibbly? You were shooting. I know, obviously, you're shooting Flash, but I was trying to remember what sort of Flash you were shooting previously. Yeah. Let's have a look here. See, yeah, booked a KDM model for holiday. Nice, cool. Okay, so that's good then. Yeah, that's good. Less, like, a little bit less stress, right? And then trying to, like, I've had them for a day. Let's do a commercial shoot. Yeah, a little bit less stress, and it, like, if it's switching from flash to LED is very different. It's not like, oh, I normally shoot Bowens, and now, like, tomorrow I got to do a shoot with some, pulsy buffs. Like, you pretty much the same, right? Apples to oranges, but with LEDs, the way that the light is going to be falling on the model is very different to what you're used to and that sort of thing. So yeah, you were Godox before, Sin. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so like the light is going to react a little bit differently, especially if you're using AD 200s or something like that, where quite directional. This is going to be super smooth. Yeah, be interested to hear what you what you think. It's also weird, like, playing with the colors with the RGB LEDs as well with those. And when I say weird, I mean, like, for so many years it's been like, right, these are my 12 colors that I use from my gel pack, and these are the colors that I have. So it is kind of forcing myself to go, okay, like, we can do like any color we want. What sort of color combinations can we kind of make work? So it's kind of stepping out of that comfort zone or something. Vlad says he managed to post. Let's have a look. This is going to be epic. Can sense it. Oh, nice. So yeah, so if you're new here, what Vlad's just done is he's posted an image in the share shoot. Thank you for doing that, Vlad. And we do this kind of every couple of weeks live on stream anyway. And essentially, what you guys do is post work you've been working on, like any shoots and that sort of thing. And for the most part, we go through, have a look, give some feedback, and if there's any critique that needs adding, I'm happy to do that. But it's all positive stuff. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing like get a better camera. Like, it is actually practical advice, or maybe try the light a bit higher, or what if we'd had the pose like this, or what if we've moved the background further away. So it's like more, like the CC that I give is kind of trying to be a little bit more practical, rather than, ooh, yeah, imagine if you got that nice lens, imagine how good it would have looked. Which that sort of shit I hate. So yeah, if you want to post an image in there, just post it in the comment section of this, and we will go through and have a look. But I mean, look, I know the caliber of images is just absolutely outstanding in here, and it always is. But don't let that put you off, right? If you're just starting out playing with LEDs, playing with gels in the studio, or whatever. Yeah, look, we all started there. Andre, how you doing? Yeah, nice to see you. See you, nice. That's true, mate. That's true. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Yeah. As he says, I guess you could kind of cheat by changing hues of certain colors. The other thing with it, Steve, is that the other thing that I kind of forget with it a little bit is like the saturation, right? All of the thousands of colors that you have off the rip from RGB, you can adjust the saturation, which is nuts. I know that may seem obvious to some of you, but just not having that option from strobes, so you have to buy the specific gel that you want, right, to get the specific color that you're after. But like these here, right, this was a beautiful pink color, and then just dial it down to like 45% saturation or something, and you just get this gorgeous just wash across there. Same with this kind of midnight blue, but dial it back a little bit, and you just it's just beautiful to work with. Don't get me wrong, like the pastel colors like this are harder to work with, just because they can be very, very delicate. It's not something that I'd kind of advise and recommend people to start off with, but once you get comfortable with it, these delicate colors can be, it's just limitless. Juliet, thank you, that's very kind. Glad you like it. Appreciate that. So Wibbly said I had Neo and Neo 2 before, used them twice. Yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because the Neos were like the small ones, and look, they're good, and I've got at least one, if not two here, and if I use them, I do tend to use them on the background, right, to hide behind the model, little small lights. But I don't tend to use them on the subject too much, just because they are small, and just having them direct on the subject can be a little bit harsh. So I do tend to always kind of use the EOS as the keys, maybe like the edge or something like that. And I mean, you can use the Neos as the hairlight and that sort of thing, but yeah, having a Neo to use on the background to hide behind the model is real nice. Yeah. Vlad says I have new LEDs that create amazing pink tones. It's pretty specific, Vlad. Okay, that's bold. I like it. I think I need to sell a kidney to afford rotor lights modifiers. Yeah, what modifiers are you talking about then? Because they've got the regular softboxes, right? And yeah, I think it's good that you're kind of playing with them first, Wibbly, because like the softboxes are cool, and if you need to put like the lights a little bit further away, like if they're in shot, then the softboxes can be nice to add extra kind of diffusion. But if you're using the EOSes in close, I don't use them with softboxes. I use them with the dome that comes on them, and they are soft enough. I think again, because we're coming from strobes, we're so used to like, got to get a modifier on these, got to get a softbox or whatever. But I think you'll be pleasantly surprised as to like how much you don't need it. Let's have a look here. Like Images. So like, yeah, this was just pretty much first time I pressed the trigger, and this was just an AOS, you know, like what arms reach away from her, and you know, it's like wow, yeah, super smooth, yeah, it's crazy. So it's really surprising, yeah. And I was trying to think if I had any others I could think of. I mean, this is an AOS as well. Like just real high, real steep angle, and just drops off very quickly, right? But it's still, even though it's like just out of shot here, it's still soft on the skin. So, yeah. This is kind of interesting as well, Wibbly, if you get a chance to try something like this. But I mounted the Neo onto the hot shoe to act as the key light here. It's kind of an interesting look. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I always shoot portrait. So yeah, I've just mounted it onto the I just mounted the Neo onto the hot shoe, and it's strong enough as a small light to give you that kind of interesting editorial ring flash kind of pop. More importantly, it gives you catch lights in the eyes, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So Vlad says, I think all LED do, but apparently not all of them are the same. Yeah. Not to mention that, but there are some figures that certain lights are quoting, and then you put them side by side, and it's just like, yeah, no, that's not the same as this other one that is quoting that same figure as well. So, yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, you definitely got to try these things. Delicate comes from taste and experience. Everyone else, 100%. I know, right, Steve? Yeah. And look, I'm terrible for it as well, Steve. It is really a case of forcing myself to do it, because, and even in post as well, I always want to crank it, you know, because like these, it's you know, because this kind of look has definitely evolved from a far softer color, and it's just always tempting just to crank it. Yeah. You got the Neo 2 for free. I mean, the Neo 2 has, I think, it just has a regular digital readout, right, rather than a full color screen. Yeah. Got a softbox R55, so 55 centimeters one, but I can use the brackets for my other bonus. That's true, yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because it's just a clamp, right? I must admit, I expected buyer's regret having blown £2,000 on the gear. But I must admit, they're good quality items. Yeah, they are good. Yeah, they are good. I'm certainly, you know, it's great to hear that you're enjoying them. Yeah. Where did you get them from, Wibbly? Did you get them from Wex or something, or? Right. So yeah, we will go through images later on. If you're just joining, we do this every couple of weeks, do a live stream, go through your guys' images, community shots, give some feedback. This is on my Facebook page here on the Share a Shoot. The link is up here if you want to share an image, and we'll go through those later on, have a look, give some feedback, and yeah, a bit of a play. Not too many in there this week, like I said. I think, you know, as the weather gets better, people are, you know, outside enjoying themselves rather than in here listening to me, but we'll certainly go through the ones that we got there. So if you're late, don't feel bad about sharing a shot late, just because we've got plenty of room to cover them. The other thing we're going to go through now is having a bit of a chat about any kind of announcements or news and stuff that has been hitting the photo world the last couple of weeks, right? And it feels like a lot has kind of happened in the last couple of weeks. Namely, you know, one of the big ticket items is going to be us talking about LEDs here. You know, leads into, you know, one of the major topics we want to talk about, or stories we want to talk about, is Profoto announcing and like their first kind of LED light. And, you know, those of you that have been around for a while know that Profoto is definitely kind of, you know, placed themselves as this Mercedes level brand, right? Very, very kind of expensive brand. You know, makes a product that keeps a lot of people happy. You know, a lot of people happy with what they do. So for Profoto to come out at this point in the game with an LED light was kind of surprising. Mainly because it's super late, right? Everybody else has been doing it for years, and it's fine not to make an LED light. They've got a huge market in the strobe world, and yeah, so it was kind of odd to see them do that. So we're gonna have a look at what that light is. The other obviously major item that we need to talk about is Adobe, right? And I know many of you are probably sick and tired of hearing it, so I'm not going to labor it too much. But there is a couple of things that I kind of want to highlight that some of you have encountered with regards to AI, right? So long story short, Adobe, is in their recent T's and C's that they brought out, kind of using our images that we work on in Photoshop as kind of fuel to the fire of Firefly, which is their AI tool, right? And kind of ambiguous in terms of the T's and C's as to whether they're allowed to do it and whether you have to opt out or opt in of these certain things. And the other really important aspect that I want to cover of that is that if you use something, I don't know, let's say you want to extend an image, right? We've all done it. You want to recompose a shot. It's like, oh god, would have been cool if her head was just in the top third there. Let me just bring it over to the left. Right, I need to add a little bit of photo to the left here. You're going to use generative fill. Boom, job done. What's happening there is that is tagged as AI in the metadata, right? So what you then can find is that image will carry that data with it, and some people have found that their images are being flagged as AI images from social media platforms like Meta, mainly Instagram, and that can severely affect the reach that image gets. So there are a couple of things I want to show you to kind of avoid that from happening, because I think it's kind of important to be on top of that, right? Because if you're just extending a background, like you're not really using AI. I mean, but it's something for us to kind of talk about. Let's have a look. Just catch up on these. No, I bought them from. They had a £55 sale on. Plus, I got 10% off. Oh, nice! So they're able to use the discount on top of the sale. That's nice. Yeah. £36 for postage. That's not too bad, is it? Wibbly? I mean, obviously, no postage would be great, but yeah, postage is horrendous right now, though. It's just nuts. Long story short, I finally managed to buy up all the old gel packs from my previous distributor, right? And again, I will try and keep this short, but they were like, look, we can't make them anymore. It's just way too costly to make gels when nobody's buying gels anymore because of the RGB LEDs and that sort of thing. So like I said, I bought up the remaining packs, which was like 20 or 30 packs or something like that, and at some point I need to put a page on my website to kind of sell them direct from myself. But I was looking at postage the other day and I was like, Jesus Christ, like just to sell a pack like that is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah, long story short, the sale's still on. They extended it. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent sale, to be fair. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at some of these stories we got here. So yeah, let's get into this, and here it is. This was from a couple of weeks ago. We've got some more information now, but I'll just cover kind of what I brought up a couple of weeks ago, because I also asked you guys on my Facebook page for your thoughts. It's actually really interesting to see different people giving their perspectives on it. But what is this? Provoto makes basically a 1600 LED, right? So 1600 watt LED. So it's a juicy monster there. It's a bit, it's a lot of power. 1600. Looks, I mean, from Profoto, they make good looking kit. It's a nice looking light, and the Profoto L1600D is a powerful 1600 watt LED light targeted towards higher end users and studios. So this is important. Like, that's the first important line here. Profoto did mention in their prior announcement that there would be a series of lights coming. So far, we've just got the one. So again, yeah, they've only announced this one, that one power. Okay, One thing I do find particularly interesting is the modifier mount. Of course, the company supports its own proprietary Profoto mount, but the Profoto L1600D also supports all your Bowens mount modifiers. So this is wild, right? This is like Profoto has never done this. Profoto has always been, use our modifiers on our lights. I get it. Like every lighting company does that. You got to use our modifiers for our lights. Now, if you're Godox or something like that, or anybody that uses the OG Bowens mount, like the S-Fit as it's known, you're using everybody's modifiers, right? Because so many people use it. So that's why the S-Fit or the Bowens mount is just so popular with everybody, right? You can buy an S-Fit and it'll fit on LEDs and strobes and all that sort of stuff. So really interesting choice for them to go down that route. So let's have a look at a couple of the specs here. So we've been talking about RGB LEDs, since we went live with you guys in chat, talking about the RGB LEDs. But this one is just single light, so it's just as in single color, just daylight, 5700K, boom, that's it. Okay, so already, okay, we're gonna have to gel it and all that sort of stuff as well. Okay, 5700 as well. I mean, fine. CRI and TLCI, 97. Basically, what this means is, 0 to 100. The higher you are to 100, the better the quality or the pureness of the color that you get from it, right? And 97 seems high, but most of the brands now are around that 97, 98 mark. So, I would expect to see that. So the power 1600, and again the modified dual Profoto and Bowens mount modifier, and we've got other bits and pieces there. But the other kind of thing that struck me was the fact that this is nearly 12 kilos. Right, this thing is a monster. And you go, Jesus Christ, why is that so heavy? And one of the reasons for it being this heavy is the fact that it's an encased single unit, right? So many of the bigger lights, I've got some of the Rotolight Titans here, and they have what you call a ballast, right? So you have the light, and then that light plugs into your kind of the ballast, and then that is mounted with a separate bracket and that sort of thing onto the stand as well. And this is doing all the conversions and bits and pieces like that. So a lot of the big lights have these, and most of the big lights will also keep that ballast, whatever you want to call it, separate to the main head, right, to keep the weight down. Now my Titan's absolutely incredible. I got the Titan X1's, absolutely incredible lights, just fucking phenomenal. But they're monsters, right? They are absolute monsters. You got to put the light on the stand, and it weighs a ton, and then you got to put the ballast on the stand as well. There's just no way you're putting those two things together. Now, what Profoto is doing here is that they've kept it all into one unit. And I think somebody mentioned on Facebook that they'd been called out on that or asked about it, and they were like, yeah, they were trying to avoid basically points of failure, right? If you've got ballast, boom, one unit, then you've got a cable going from that unit into the light, then you've got the light. So you've got how many points of failure there? You got the cable can fail, the connectors between the cable can fail, the ballast can fail, the light can fail. So there's so many different points there, and I feel like their argument was like, look, put an all-in-one unit, kind of limits that margin of error of the cable issues. I haven't seen the quote myself, so I don't want to be too harsh without seeing the quote personally, but yeah, that sounds like waffle to me, but yeah, we'll see. So the other thing that was interesting here is they didn't announce the price, right? And I was kind of curious as to, okay, so how much is this going to be? How much is this really going to cost? And I kind of asked you guys on Facebook last week what sort of price you thought it was going to be. Let's have a look. I'm just checking out some of these comments here. Elsin saying he got the traveler kit for 1700. Okay, yeah, nice. So Vlad says 1600 watts. That is constantly on, a space heater. That is a good point, Vlad. Yeah. So what Vlad's saying there is that this thing is just going to be this thing is going to be pumping out the heat, right? And he's not wrong. That is going to get very warm. I have a Godox 150 watt here, and that gets. I mean, it's not like hot to touch, but it is definitely warm. So let's have a look here. What we're still talking about is savings. But can you gel 1600 watts of heat? This is the other thing. Yeah, this is the other thing. You see, Vlad's asking the tough questions here, and I agree with him. So this kind of twofold. So let's kind of talk about what Vlad's saying there is that those of us that have shot strobes before, use the gels. I've got them. I've got them here. They're just sheets of the gel themselves, and like they are designed specifically to be heat resistant, and they're not going to catch fire and that sort of thing. That's why they cost so much. It's for all those reasons, because they're used on hot lights. And you could go, well, tons of people in cinema and that sort of thing are used to dealing with tungsten bulbs and that sort of stuff, which gets super hot. So yes, but Vlad still raises an important point there, like how hot does that get at the front? And I think you may be all right. The reason I say that is because maybe all the heat is back here with like a tungsten bulb. The heat is right there. It's going to get hot, but still, I think that if you're going to be using that with gels, you're going to be going through packs of gels pretty frequently. Yeah. Damn, I'm not shooting a moment, but that's probably someone's roof not to. It's 11 kilograms of cooling and 0.7 kilograms of light emitting electronics. Yeah, I mean, let's have a look, Vlad. Let's have a look at see what. Yeah, this is the. This is the video that they put out yesterday or something like that. One day ago. Yeah. And Vlad's not wrong. Like, most of that unit is fans, right? These things are gonna get hot. I do love that bracket. I'm not gonna lie, that bracket. You see that? That's nice. That's real cool. That's how they're gonna deal with the S-Fit modifier, which is pretty clever. So yeah, we got. Just mute that. So liquid cooling technology, Hydra C-Tex, they're obviously doing something in there, for the reasons that Vlad has mentioned. It's just going to get super hot, and then two massive fans on top. Now credit where credit's due. ProPhoto's interface and triggers and all that sort of stuff has always been impeccable. I can't fault them there. It's always been excellent. So and I'm sure they'll follow through on that as well. Very clean, easy to use. I do want that bracket though. So this is clever, right? This is clever. So, this you mount. So this tube, this column, this collar, whatever you want to call it, you can mount your ProPhoto stuff on, and then you can actually remove the collar, and then there'll be the S-Fit underneath. Now this looks awesome, right? It looks like super clever. Like, Christ, why haven't they done this before? One of my kind of immediate concerns there is if you're using ProPhoto items on this, like if anybody's used, I know you've all used S-Fit modifiers before, like the bonus modifiers on your strobes before, right? You put it on and there's a little bit of jiggle, right? A little bit of jiggle. This is going to be, the same thing. I wonder how snug they actually make that, whether there's a clamp or something somewhere that keeps that real snug, so that your ProPhoto modifier on there, because you can move the ProPhoto modifier up and down, is going to be super snug on there. Not sure, but yeah, But yeah, very clever way for them to get multiple on there. And the other thing as well, if you know if you're going to be using gels, then you just use a modifier that puts the gel further away from the heat and that sort of thing. But not always practical. Yeah. I know you're a Mac guy, but please Google 240mm air water cooler. What's that then? Is that something to keep the fans on my laptop cool? Marketing is supposed to be looking at this cool tech and using it, so impressive, but most gamers have their PC cool. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, it's not something that is revolutionary for a lot of people, and you can buy the water cooled stuff, and yeah, I don't know how effective this is going to be, but yeah, you guys are absolutely right. Like, this is not breaking the mold or anything like that, and they've got this patented unique liquid cooling technology, Hydra C Tech. There you go. Let me turn that down. Is what they have there. Oh, okay, Vlad. Okay, gotcha. Sorry. Yeah. 240. Oh, that's what you meant about a Mac guy, because I don't know about the water cooling, and that's fair. I don't. Yeah, you're right. That's fair to make that to make that assumption. Yeah, what I see is what I get. Right. Okay. Yeah. It's just right. Yeah. I take your point. Yeah. So yeah, like, I mean, it's cool that they're branching out to this, and one of the things here was, what do we think the price of this is going to be? And maybe many of you don't use these types of light. This is a big light, not sure what kind of prices we're talking about here. So to give you like some idea, right, of these monster units that are pumping out a lot of power. We've got the Godox one here. So this is like a couple of years old, and so how much is that? So this is $3,500, right? So and again, I think this is like single light. This is not single light. This actually has a range. So whereas the Pro Photo is just 5,700, this one has a range. And you can go, well, Jake, this is 1,200 watts. Pro Photo's 1,600 watts. And yes, you're right. I would encourage you to remember that, how much are we talking about here in terms of actual photographic terms. So from 1,200 to 1,600, to give you some idea, 800 watt would be one stop less light than the Pro Photo, right? So here we're at 1,200. So what? We're losing, 400 watts, which is equivalent to, what did I say, half a stop or something? So it's like half a stop of light that you're losing here, right, for this unit. So the 1,600 watt is bright, but it's only half a stop brighter. Again, 1,200 seems to be the norm. We got the aperture one here, aperture 3,400. So again, a little bit lower than the Godox. We got the Nanolux one here, again 1,200, seems to be the standard, right? So I think this is just single color, yeah. But again, let's have a look. Like, Nanlite is not cheap. 3, 4. So again, right. So all those three lights there are all sat around $3,500. So my question to you guys was like, okay, last week when I posted this, I was like, look, it's interesting to see Pro Photo doing this. What do we think to it, right? And I'm very fortunate that I've been doing this a while. There's a bunch of very professional people following me and joined in with this, to give their thoughts, and a lot of thoughts that I hadn't really kind of thought about. And my kind of argument here is that let's just say this was $5,000, right? If you think Godox is like 3.5, this is bound to be 5, right? And I was like, well, who is this aimed at? It's not aimed at photographers, really. It's not aimed at their current customers. So who is this aimed at? And it's aimed at cinematographers, really. And cinematographers and the cinema world is all wrapped up by ARRI, really, right, at the top end. And then beyond that, you've got aperture, right? If you're kind of using LED lights, but you're not Ridley Scott, then aperture is usually what you're using. They are kind of industry standard. So how is Profoto going to muscle in on that? The other thing that's kind of useful to note, and this was mentioned to me by somebody in the industry, said, look, there is like none of the cinematography or cinema sites or news sites or any of that are even talking about this, right? It's only the photographic sites and photographic news that are talking about this. So this is not even a blip on the cinema's radar at the moment. So it's really confusing as to where this is going to sit. And my argument was they're probably just going to push it out into rental houses, because Profoto is a huge rental market, like massive. If you go into any studio, and it's probably the same in the US, but here in Europe, you go to any studio in Europe, they're always going to have Profoto kit in there. Rental houses always going to have Profoto kit in there. They've definitely got the chokehold on it. And my argument was they're probably just going to put their Profoto lights in these rental houses and just rent them out. Okay. Let's have a look here. Some of the points. So Salim here has been working in the movie industry for many years, and he now works or runs a team of digital guys working on virtual productions, right? So like all the Marvel movies and all that sort of stuff, and the Mandalorian screens, and like those, like this guy knows what he's talking about, and works on these sets. He says, me personally, think it's a little late to the market, especially when it's only a white light, right? Fair. Yeah. Far more superior lighting companies around now. As it's Profoto, they will price it the same as an ARRI Orbiter, so around £5,000, right? So those of you who don't know what the ARRI Orbiter is, like this is its main contender, right? So just over $6,000 here, but this is full color. Like this can do full color, and it's a single unit like that. Granted, it's been out a few years. Look at the color temperature range; it's nuts. 2,000, 20,000 range. CRI pretty good, pretty standard, and I'm not really sure on the brightness here. It says power consumption 500 watts. I'm not really sure on how bright it is. It's kind of difficult when colors are involved on these units, because different colors will only give you certain powers, right? So kind of difficult to get a gauge on that with the RGB ones. And this is where I kind of struggle with the power as well, because if we're talking about 1600 unit here, Vlad's talking about the gels, you need to gel it and that sort of thing. I mean, I can tell you now, I've got some gels here, some like navy blue gels and like blood red gels. They'll take nearly 2 stops of light away, right? So this is a single white light unit, and let's say you need a like a deep blood red color. You put that over this. This has gone from 1600 down to like nearly 400 watt, like that. Okay, so you gotta keep that in mind when you're talking about these white light units. Like some of these color gels, if you're going to be using color gels, will take away a lot of power from these units. So it's not like, okay, cool, 1600, I can just use any color I want with it. Jobs are good. And it doesn't, it doesn't translate like that, right? You're going to lose a lot of power with certain gels. He's talking about the pricing there as well. If the Godox is $3,500, then this will be at least double, I guess, around 8 to 10. So Stephen again here, he's a guy who knows what he's talking about, and I'll kind of come back to that in a minute. As you say, it's surprising they are late to the game with the LED, especially considering they used to have a range of HMI lights about 15, 20 years ago. So I completely forgotten about this, but Stephen's absolutely right. And Profoto did have these HMI lights where they were packs and they were cables, and they would have the head with the exposed bulb, but they were, tungsten hot lights. and but they kind of ditched it, right? So I saw a lot of people saying that, you know, they've kind of been in the industry for a long time. They've been burned by Profoto in the past by kind of leaving this product behind, and they were like left with these extremely expensive lights, and like, great, you know, thanks for that. So like there is a little bit of hesitation with jumping onto this. The only thing that's probably going to stop that is the fact that there is S-fit possibilities there. You always know that you're going to have S-fits, right? Talking about Breezer there, yeah. So Richard McKitty here, again, been in the industry for many years, worked at Lee and Roscoe, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, guy knows what he's talking about, and he says, yeah, only IP54 will not do well in the film world, rental houses. What he's referring to there is like how much water it can take, right? So how much dust and water and that sort of stuff. Let's have a look. Can we get... So here we go. So the IP rating chart here, so how it works out is you take the IP, and then you take the first number and then the second number. So it's not like a number out of 100, like 65 out of 100. No, it's two numbers. Like the first number deals with like solids, like dust and sand and all that sort of stuff, and the second number deals with water, right? So Rotolite have just brought out their Anova Pro 3, for example, LED light, and you know, it's crazy because it's been rated at IP65. So what does that mean? So it means that 6 here, so dust tight, dust cannot ingress, like literally, like can't get in. There's like, that's the top. It's 6. It only goes up to 6. That's it. Right? Dust, like tiny dust particles can't get in. And then on the right here we've got the water. So 5 here, protect from water jets projected from 6.3 nozzle. Like basically blasting it with a hose, right? And so what was, so Richard says IP54. So this is the Profoto, so 5 and then 4. So dust cannot ingress an amount sufficient to affect normal operation of the device. So, you know, dust, but you know, you got to be mindful over time, right? And then 4, protect from splashing water from any direction. So again, you know, Richard's point here is, my argument was, well, it's going to go into rental houses, and Richard's point here is like, you got to be careful with that sort of rating for rentals. Yeah. Catherine brings up a good point here. At 12 kgs, being a wimpy female, I couldn't even get it off the ground, and even muscly men worry about the backs. 100%. Yeah, this has got nothing to do about being a female. This has got to do with the thing that thing's a monster, and we haven't even put a modifier on it. So, like, you know, you haven't even got a modifier on it yet. And this is the other thing that was kind of confusing, right? You're going to put that out on a boom or something. I think somebody comes on here, looks heavy. Jeff says, I'm curious why they didn't make a pack and head system. That's what we've been talking around, the ballast, right? I would not want a light that expensive on the end of a boom arm or up high on a stand, even if it's a huge light stand. Would I rent it? Maybe. So yeah, you know, interesting entry into the market for them. And again, I don't even know who this is aimed at. Yeah. And a couple of people, so just finishing up on the price here, a couple of people mentioned, well, if Godox is, you know, 3.5, Profoto is normally double Godox. So a lot of people were saying, you know, $7,000-$8,000, right? And again, Paul Watson here being cheeky, but I was told by an industry insider that it's, and you didn't hear it from me, but $8,000 for that light, right? And I don't know who that's aimed at, but we'll see. If, you know, Profoto is a very successful company. You know, it profits year on year. You know, that like they know what they're doing. They obviously have the contacts. They obviously have their fingers in the market. they must have the data to kind of back this up. But yeah, to somebody like me, I'm not seeing it. Yeah. You noted the $50 to $100. I did, Vlad. I did. That's why I wasn't going to bring it up. Yeah. I know, Wibbly. You've run out of kidneys, mate. You run out of kidneys. Yeah. Steve, sounds like a TV show starring Charlie Sheen. Oh, yeah. Vlad says the steps of Watts is probably determined by energy manufacturers in China, high-end YouTube filmmakers. I can't even imagine how 20,000 looks like. Is that full blue? I know, Vlad, right? Like, how is that? Like, what is just, it's kind of bizarre, because if you look on the Kelvin spectrum, there's just a lot of blue. Like, once it gets past 10, 12,000, it's kind of like all the same color. But anyway, maybe they can get away with it somehow. But yeah. And Gripe says, well, I guess Pro Photo has to start somewhere. I agree. Yeah, no, you're right. They have to bring it out. I bet in the future sells enough, they will add RGB. And look, Gripe is right. It is, like they do have to start somewhere. Was Pro Photo really going to bring out a little LED light, to kind of test the water with it? No, they're bound to come in with this monster. So Gripes is right. Like they got to start somewhere, and I guess we'll see. But like I said, the only thing that's kind of puzzling is that they are gearing it towards the high end cinema market, but nobody in that sphere is talking about it. That's what I heard. What do you think about the Lume Cube? I have used the Lume Cubes. You're talking about the little LED cubes, right? And like, I think if you're out and about and you're using a phone or something like that, and you want something in your pocket, they're fine. The color from the Lume Cubes is not great. Like the white light from them is pretty bad in my experience. Maybe I had a dodgy one, but yeah, the one that I tested was very green. Yeah, so it's not something that I would kind of use. I did 169. Nice one, Grapes. Yeah, nice. Seen the crazy Majig Apple used to test IP. I did see that. Yes, is that the he was invited into the factory and saw what they did to the iPhones, right? Yeah, it's kind of nuts. I did see that. Yeah. Yeah, I've already seen it. It's kind of nuts. Like this, it's muted, right? Yeah. Because they go on to like blast it with a. This is funny, man. This is funny. Just blasting it with a fire hose, man. Love it. So, what is the rating of an iPhone? What is the IP rating of an iPhone? I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Bet most people have not put all. So Vlad says, I bet most people here have not put 8,000 in all the lights together. Money wise, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you'd need. Yeah, I mean, you can certainly get up there, but you need to be working on some big sets, right? And those lights really need to be working for you when you're not working, right? If you're spending $8,000 on a single light, that needs to be working when you're sleeping, right? I agree, Vlad. There's a lot for one light, and not because you wouldn't if we had 8. I mean, yeah, exactly. It's not like yeah, here you go, Vlad. Here's $8,000. Obviously, you're going to go out and buy that light now. It's just like you're going to buy 10 other lights, right? The Godox Lume Cube clone, I would not recommend it. Maybe the Elizani one is better. I haven't heard of that one, but yeah, definitely check that one out. Vlad knows what he's talking about. He's used more LEDs than most people, so definitely see what he's on about. Will lights state how hot they get in terms of gels? No, I've never seen any lights do that. And I think one of the reasons they do that is because, they kind of hide behind the fact, well, we're not sure how you're going to use them. Are you going to use them on a dish like this, or are you going to use them on a Magnum dish, which is like a foot away from it, so we're not sure how it's going to get. So it is always going to be one of those things where it's not sure. The reason I was hesitating there is because I was remembering that, like, in the cinema world, a gel is a consumable, right? And this is why, the company that was making my gels, Roscoe, who was making my gel packs in the past, right? These gels are not consumables really to us, especially in this day and age, right? Like 20 years ago, we would burn gels all the time on hot lights and that sort of stuff. But now, like, you buy one pack and that's it, you're done, right? So it's not very cost effective for them to keep making, or for them to make the gel packs for photographers, because they're not a consumable product anymore, and their prices were contingent on you coming back every few weeks to buy more gels, and that's what the cinema industry does. I remember Ridley Scott talking about Blade Runner, I think. And he was saying, like, you just went through, hundreds of rolls of gels. I think there's an interview, like, Lee did an interview with him, and it was just like, yeah, it's just an expendable, a consumable, IP68. Oh, okay, for the iPhone. Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks. Okay, because it can be used underwater, right? Yeah, that's true. Healthy competition is good for the market. Completely agree, Gripes. Yeah, I don't think this product is going to shake it, but we'll see the impact sooner or later. Yeah, agreed. Be interested to see how they follow it up as well, Gripes. Like you say, they've got to start somewhere. So I'm kind of wondering whether they're going to see where this lands before they add to it. I just find it odd that they just brought out this single light. The reason I say that is because they mentioned in the past, plural, like they said, we will be bringing out LED lights, plural. And when they did this announcement, it was just one. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. Didn't the guys played? No. You can only go for something like 30 to 60 buttons on it. Oh, we're talking about the power. Yeah. Also after 100, it goes blinking mode. Absolutely useless. Steve says, yeah, $8,000. You're talking high. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's got to be aimed at the hiring market, rental market, and look, I mean, I know I've mentioned it mentioned this to you guys before, but I did a gig for Panelux down there at Panavision, and though a lot of those lights you can't buy, right? The lights that I was using on set for my lighting was just fucking incredible lights, right? Just absolutely just nuts, but they're like 15 grand for one panel, and it's not aimed at just guys and girls doing a few shoots a month and that sort of thing. They are aimed at rental houses. So again, this is why I think that will just go straight into rentals, mainly because they have such a stranglehold on the rental market right now. Why wouldn't they capitalize on that? Lads talking about you can adjust it in the app. I haven't actually used the Godox Lume Cube. I didn't even realize there was one. Yeah. I've telling RGB light is a pixel is fine, but I want to buy my first RGB tube. It depends what your budget is, Juliet. If you're looking, if you're looking, I'm sure. Maybe I'll just go through the comments. Maybe somebody else has already answered you. No, I don't think so. The ones that I used were real cheap, but they weren't very bright, right? You can see them there, right? So these tubes are the ones that I used, but they're not particularly bright, and they're really only used in shot like that, which is super close. But they're like 50 quid for was this a meter long or something? If you got yeah, do you know what, Jake? I got some money to spend. I want to get good quality LED tubes like industry standard, then the Nanlite Pavo tubes, which I know some of these guys in chat have used the power tubes, and they're going to be excellent. But like Godox also do LED tubes as well, but they only cover like 180 degrees, right? These tubes, as you can see, do pretty much like 320 degrees. They have a tiny black strip on the back, but they cover everything, whereas a lot of the other tubes will just be 180, like half a cylinder worth of light output. I'll pop that in chat. Hey Sterling, how you doing? Yeah, did you message me earlier on, Sterling? I saw a message pop up, and I'm like, and then I couldn't find it. It just popped up as a notification as I was going live, and I couldn't find your message. But yeah, I'm glad you made it. Oh, let's have a look here. Steve says, yeah, true, I worked on a few productions and they went through loads of gels like paper. I know, right, Steve? It's real different to to the way that we work. Like, go through like paper towels. I love that. But yeah, it's true. They just, like, these things are just, melting all over the place, and it's just like, yeah, we just need, another roll. And it's wild, but that's just the way it is, right? Yeah. Scratch loads of loose. Steve, that's terrible. What are you doing, Steve? Nothing. There's just like loads of like offcuts of gel stuffed in your jacket. Brilliant. Yeah. Says they wanted to publish more of them, but their entire budget went into the single, like, probably. I mean, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing as well. If they've once they've made this, I'm sure they can just rattle out a bunch more, right? That's what I mean. It seems weird that they wouldn't have more. Yeah. Now the real question is, what RGB Lights brand has a decent app that's actually working all the time and always connects to that? Yeah, good one, Vlad. Yeah, good one. Good joke. Good luck with that. If all you want is color work for tubes, I can strongly recommend making your own topic. If you've got a link to anything like that, Vlad, yeah, feel free to share it. I'm fine with you sharing that. Do you realize you started an hour later? No, it's just normal time. I started an hour ago, so that's normal time for me. I don't know. Maybe did you go through a solar shift one way or another? But anyway, let's move on from that. The opposite end of the spectrum. Somebody else, I think somebody shared this with me last week, but I didn't really get a chance to speak about it. So Godox goes the opposite way. They bring out this 100-watt and bicolor LED, and I've been seeing a lot of people using this handheld, which is kind of interesting, right? Because this little ditty thing, super lightweight. You can have a little dish on it, and I've seen a bunch of people shooting this handheld on the camera. So they're holding the camera and they're using it handheld. Now, when I say this, I mean there's another. Maybe it's the same brand or something like that, but I think. Glad you'll know it's got the light, and then like on the side of it, it comes out a little bit longer, and then on the side of it, it's just got a massive fan here. Those ones, I've seen people using those handheld. So yeah, it's $200. There you go. So Godox is covering it all. Interesting what they're doing here with this actual modifier as well. Trying to mitigate the hotspot when used close like that with that modifier. It's interesting. Yeah. Cool. Nice little travel. Exactly, Stilling. Yeah, I mean, super lightweight. Granted, you need big pockets, but I've certainly seen people just holding it with their camera, especially if you're not shooting DSLR. You can hold the camera with one hand. Yeah. Kind of interesting. We already spoke about the orbiter. Nikon teases the Z6 III. Look, guys, what I know about cameras, you could write on the back of a fact packet. But so this is not crazy interesting to me, but I'm sure there are people out there that are excited about this. I could capture it even before I press the shutter. So what that's shooting as soon as you turn it on, and it's just probably got what do we reckon? Maybe shooting 5 seconds before you press the shutter, which is kind of interesting. So just constantly constantly shooting and deleting, purging. Kind of interesting, but I think that's been around a while, especially in phones, right? In a bright situation, I can see better, I can create better. I'm not, look, I shoot Nikon, right? So look, I'm shitting on, I'm not shitting on them here, but in a bright situation, if I can see better, I can create better. So, what feature is this camera going to have? Like a larger viewfinder? Like what are we talking about here? I don't know. Like I buy a camera once every decade, so I'm not the target audience. Yeah. Peak marketing holograms. I'm just like, this is Nikon, right? This is not just some knockoff brand. Like, who is running their marketing department? It just blows my mind. I mean, to be fair, Pro Photo wasn't much better. That video we spoke about last time, where it was just looked terrible. Like there's some poor dude stuck in front of a dodgy grey background with like a soft. It was some of these companies advertising. It's just nuts, man. Yeah. Best thing about Z6 III is the price of Z6 on the second-hand market might drop a little bit. lads, shooting smart. I like it. Yeah. Killing your battery. That exact right, Steve? I mean, if something's shooting constant, which is what it has to be doing, right? If it's I can capture even before I press the shutter, it's a game changer. I shouldn't rip on them too hard, because when I do videos for Rotalite, they get some great sound bites from me, and I look back on it and go, did I honestly say that? Did I really say that? So yeah, I shouldn't rip on them too hard, because I've been caught out in the past as well. They keep playing the sound bite of me saying, you got to see it to believe it. I'm just like, you have added a pause in there. I did not pause like that. I know you've added a pause in there. Let's have a look. Bike light, good one, Steve. Yeah, you got some money for that bike light. Yeah. Let's have a look. Peak marketing. Bright light. I can take photos. Just don't. Yeah, shoot exclusively in black rooms, no windows, no lights. It's just terrible. I was so tempted to send you Nikon memes when they announced buying red. Look, I'm all for it, man. I'm used to it by now. So many of you buggers already send me the memes on Instagram. Like, my DMs are just filled of you fuckers shitting on Nikon in my DMs. I actually want a Z6. I found out I can get things take lenses under 500 grams, autofocus, even M42 stuff. Oh, okay, yeah. So the old vintage lenses. Yeah, nice. I just saw this and I thought, this is funny as hell, man. You don't need gels anymore. You just get these coloured socks. How bad are the colours on these going to be? Right? Just, what are you thinking you are? Like, these colours on those would be horrendous. Why would you... Nobody asked for those. Why are you even making those? I'm not going to spend any time on them, but I just saw that and was just like, guys, it's finally here. Brown. Right? It's finally here. I love it. What would that even look like? You can't even have brown light. Like, what? That's just nuts to me. It's wild. It's wild. Rubber. I honestly don't know. I have that sock bit in white. It's exactly, yeah. Rubber glove material. Could be. You just need to paint some different colours. Looks like colour aluminum. These images as well. Yeah. Look, I'm not. Everybody's. There's no way those lights made that shot, right? Oh man. Anyway, I got. Oh yeah. Light below the eye level. Nice. Right, this is what you don't do, guys. Please. Yeah, this light needs to be up here, coming down. Please don't do this. Right. Anyway, That's enough shitting on companies. Clary launches its magnetic clip-in filters for Sony APS-C mounts. So have you guys used these? So basically, rather than putting the filters on the end of the lens, with the mirrorless cameras, you can, because you haven't got the mirror flapping about, you can actually put the filters on the inside next to the chip. Now, I've never done this, but I know lots of people that do. Using these filters inside, obviously going to be, I presume, easier to kind of use, or like cheaper because they're smaller and they're not going to get scuffed or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether I would kind of drop a little fella in there next to the next to the chip. But look, people use the, see, look, they got the mist filters, 1/4 mist in there next to the chip. Again, like I said, I've not used them, but I know people that do. Yeah. Diffusion cloth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's going to be. Why would you can just use a diffusion gel and get a proper color? It's just going to be horrendous color. It's awful. Yeah, seems legit, right, Grimes? Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, those images seem legit. You have the insider here for all the cheap China gear. No, my algorithm is screwed up, man. I get the great products. Yeah. Brown light. I don't know, Steve. That is news to me. Yeah. Just FYI, brown gels do not exist. Yeah. Just as well. Just like silver gels don't exist. Yeah. Oh, can I have gold light on the background? No, you can't. Yeah. I would put one more IR cut filter in all of my camera any day of the week when shooting outside. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Canon has a way to put a filter in the back of the lens. So is it attached to the lens, Andre? Like attached to the actual lens itself rather than dropping it on the chip? Okay. It's just inviting an accident. I don't know, Steve. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. But I'm old, and I wouldn't. I mean, I don't even take particularly good care of my camera, but I still wouldn't drop that in there. It'd be cool to avoid ghosting. I've thought about getting a filter for my sensibility reviews. Checks mixed. So what Grabs is talking about there is a really good point. And so what he's talking about there is a really interesting aspect that I'd kind of overlooked. The one thing that can happen with filters on the lens, and I've kind of mentioned this in the past, is that filter that you put on the lens is really the only flat piece of glass in the entire system, right? What I mean by that is, like, all of your lenses are curved and spherical, whatever, they all have curves to them. So you don't get the kind of weird ghosting, or like Grabs calls it, the flares that you can get. And if you use a filter, which is a flat piece of glass, it's far easier for you to get these ghosts on the front. So that is a really good point, Grabs. Yeah, something that I'd kind of hadn't thought about. And that happens because light's coming in. You think, well, this is a flat piece of article here. You wouldn't, because it's being focused by the lens and it's being projected through that. So I don't think you would get the ghost of this. But that is a really good point, Grabs. Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah. Mixed reviews. Okay. Yeah. I have an Hicks lens as a filter holders on the back as well. Really? It's at the back of the lens in a frame. Interesting. Okay. So best of both worlds, right? So you don't have the ghosting stuff that Grabs is talking about, and you're not dropping stuff on your sensor. So okay, that's best of both worlds. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. Okay. So moving on to the other mammoth in the room is going to be Adobe, right? Is in the crosshairs again for what they're doing, and you could argue they're a bit tone deaf, but really I just think they're past caring. And a couple of you mentioned this to me this week as well. Vlad, I know, mentioned it. Steve, I know, mentioned it as well. But what's the deal with Firefly AI ads with Adobe? So this kind of originally started off the other week or something like that, and where Adobe were releasing ads saying skip the photo shoot, right? We would generate backgrounds. So, a little bit of in poor taste, right? Skip the photo shoot on a product that is designed, in my mind, originally to work on photographs that you've actually taken, and now they're just saying skip the photographer. Oh, I mean the photo shoot. So everybody was understandably pissed at this. This is ridiculous. How dare you, and that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think it's pretty tone deaf. We spoke about Apple the other day crushing all the arcade machines and instruments and all that sort of stuff, basically basically destroying creativity and then giving you an iPad in return. So slightly tone deaf advertising. But yeah, skip the photo shoot is like Christ, kind of tone deaf. Let's have a look. Yeah, I know, Steve. Right? Yeah, almost skip the photography. I know, and that's essentially what they're saying, Juliet. Yes, this is exactly what they're saying. So everybody was, understandably a little bit upset about this, and there's different ways of looking at this. What we got? I got a couple of pulled out a couple of things here. A couple of articles here. So here we go. Yeah. So new digital camera and skip the photo shoot. So this is on the Adobe community forums and that sort of thing, and people saying the same thing. It's just like how dare you skip the photo shoot and that sort of stuff. And some of the counters to that, you got talentless hacks will continue to produce garbage regardless of the tools they have. Talentless artists should be able to use those tools to produce even better artwork. So okay, yeah, I mean it's a fair argument, right? We went through all of these processes, like even going back as far as if you used autofocus, you were a heathen, right? Manual focus is for the purists. Only shoot manual. Autofocus is newfangled gadgetry, and people used the tools of autofocus to capture even more beautiful images of moving animals and all that sort of stuff. Lumi Graphics' point here is that look, if you're just going to use the tool right out the box and do nothing with it, then yeah, it's going to be a problem. But if you're somebody that capitalizes on these new tools, then you should be able to create even better work. Death of photography has been proclaimed many times. Last time was when phones exploded. That actually turned out to be a blessing because everybody came to expect photos of everything. So demand exploded as well. But at the same time, it also became apparent that the phones couldn't fix bad lighting and bad photographers. So the net effect for me as a photographer was that I got more work than ever before. I trust something similar will happen this time with AI. So this is an interesting point. This is a really interesting point, and it's something that I'd kind of forgotten about. But if we're going back to like early mid 2000s when like the phones were like the smartphones and that sort of thing were popping off, like our studio back then was just rammed, like chock-a-block. I mean, it's just like night and day different to to how studios are today. But Defos here brings up a good point, right? When everybody thought, oh my god, everybody's going to have a camera in their pocket, photography is dead, right? And that was definitely the thing that we were all screaming about at the time. But we were busier than ever. Like we were absolutely flying, and I think it was because everybody had like the buzz for photography. Everybody wanted photo shoots, and everybody was wanted to do A, B, C, and D. And he's right. Like we were super busy at the time, and he is hoping that it's going to be the same again. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But good arguments, in my opinion, for it. Right. Same here on Reddit. We got what's going on with Adobe AI ads circumventing photographers. So again, saying some of the things what we're mentioning here, and Adobe's biggest customers are designers, not photographers. So this was kind of interesting to me when I first read this, and my knee-jerk reaction was, no, it's ridiculous. And then I kind of got to thinking, and I'm like, is that true? Is it really got to the point now where there are so few photographers doing it professionally that like it's not really the market anymore? Like it's gone, more designers, think about how far reaching a designer's job is. I was like, it's kind of interesting. Is it really, is that their target audience now? Is it not photographers? I mean, because back in the day it was, right? That it was absolutely their target audience, but is it not now? Obviously it's Reddit, so you've got to take a lot of this with a grain of salt, as it's just Twitter for keyboard users. But Adobe wants to remove photographers from the equation. okay, if they do, so somebody else says, if they do this, they will never have anything new. How can you use generative AI to create an image of something that does not exist? What happens when some new product category comes into existence and aren't 35 million images to train your data on? So what they're saying here is this. I mean, this guy here is being, look, you know, photographers are not the market. Designers are the market. They're just, you know, Adobe doesn't, you know, it just is not bothered by it. Move on. And you know, the argument is, well, they need the images to be able to create the AI and that sort of thing. And then this argument kind of carries on going, well, like, photographers are a small percentage of the amount of images that are being used for AI. So every single person has a camera, and the majority of them upload and share photos, basically saying that all of these systems are being, you know, are using, you know, the AI systems are using these images that are being farmed out like Meta, right? Deep in the T's and C's, when we signed up to Facebook and Instagram and that sort of thing, because of the copyright issues, in there it says you allow us to use your images copyright free. Now legally, what they could do is they could sell that image and make an app, because you've given the rights to it. Now they're never going to do that yet. You know, and this is where Adobe got into some hot water with the T's and C's with the wording, which we'll get into in a minute, because although, you know, kind of Meta has that in their disclaimer that, you know, you give us rights to use your images as we see fit, because they have to. You're sharing it on their platform. You kind of have to, because you can go, well, it's on that platform. You are profiting from my image because people are going to your platform to see my image, and they're being served an advert which you're making money from. You owe me money. So they have to have this clause in their T's and C's of these social media sites, so that they can actually use your image, right? Now they're not going to use it to sell to, you know, Nike or anything like that. But this is kind of where Adobe got into hot water with their language that they used with the T's and C's. Over 99% of photos in the world are already taken by non-professionals. Like I take their point, right? You know, there's so many trillions of images being, you know, shared online already, and it's not by pros. Yeah, Adobe has no need for professional photos. All they need is high enough quality photos, and there's no lack of those in the world. So it's interesting counter arguments to, you know, the fuss that's going on here about the ownership of images and copyright, and Adobe using the images for AI training models and all that sort of thing, and, you know, which has ultimately led to them going, fuck the photo shoot, right? We can do it for you. So let's have a look here. So yeah, they, like I said, they came under fire here. This was last updated 9th of June. They came under fire here for the usage, right? And we can kind of have a look at that now, right? So if we skip over to Photoshop. So you go into preferences, and then you come all the way down here to product improvement, right? Now in here, all the way buried at the bottom here, is Photoshop improvement program. Yes, I'd like to participate. Right now, I haven't done anything here. I haven't checked this. So as far as I'm aware, this was unchecked already for me, and this is what I've seen in the past. And I was like, oh, okay. It's unchecked, all good. I don't need to worry about it. It's opt-in, not opt-out. Join the Adobe Photoshop Improvements Program to help develop Adobe software and services. Participation will not degrade the performance of your software. If you choose to participate, Adobe will collect image data that will be viewed by researchers, access cloud documents that will be viewed by researchers, and collect information on how you use the software to identify trends and usage patterns. Okay. Adobe will not use these images or associated data for any purpose other than to improve and develop Adobe software and services. I mean, that is extremely vague, but there it is. So to my knowledge, this already came unchecked. So I was like, okay, no need to worry, right? There is another layer to this which I wasn't actually aware of, and this is where it kind of all kicked off here. But if you go into, I think it's in here, and then you go to manage account, and then you come into account security and then data and privacy settings, right? And then this is checked automatically, which I wasn't aware of. Okay, you have the option to share information with Adobe and how to use our desktop apps. This information associated with Adobe account allows us to provide you with more personalized experience, as well as helps us improve the quality features. And right, so share information on how I use desktop apps. Okay, so you want to, I'm just going to turn that off. So this is the other one. This is the other big one as well. Content analysis. Adobe may analyze your content using techniques such as machine learning, pattern recognition, to develop and improve our products and services. If you prefer that Adobe not analyze your files to develop and improve our products and services, you can opt out from content analysis at any time. So this is opt out, not opt in, right? So when I opened this up earlier on, this was all clicked on. So do with that what you will. Okay. Let's have a look at any comments in here. So Steve says the fact that Adobe's new T's and C's now reserve the right to manually look at your files and can repurpose your intellectual IP, so movies with NDAs have no privacy or protection. It is odd. Yeah, I don't really see how they can kind of get around that. And when they were pressed in, by journalists or whatever, they were like, oh, our intention is never to do that. We would never do that. I know, but you are asking us to sign away that. And that's the same with Meta, right? The same rules are in Meta. Like, would they ever, steal the, if you upload an image for a movie or something like that, would they ever use that to create an advert? I mean, legally they could, but would they ever? No, they wouldn't. And but it's still it's very, very rocky ground, right? That's why everybody has the pitchforks out for Adobe, and yeah, rightly so. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware that it happened, so thankfully smarter people than I was keeping an eye on. It happened over the weekend. Okay. The users much more need for posters and website than photos, to be honest. I mean, fair enough, lad. Yeah, maybe that is the case, that it is just more about designers now rather than the actual photographers themselves or retouchers. The other thing as well, that do you think we'll start to see less retouchers using Photoshop? I know several is probably a stretch, but I know of a few photographers that now use AI apps. I know a couple of you, I think it's some of you in here, I can't remember who it was. I know a couple of you use AI apps now to retouch, right? I've already forgotten. Was it Envato, whatever it is, the AI app that we looked at on here? Like, there's a bunch of AI apps now that would mean that you don't need to use Photoshop. If you're just doing simple retouching, farming it out, portraits and that sort of stuff, you don't need Photoshop, really. You can do, I mean, that app that we reviewed on here the other couple of weeks ago was nuts. Like, it was incredible. It was Lightroom and Photoshop in one, and it charged you per image. So, and it was like 78 cents an image or something like that. It was crazy, right? You do not need Photoshop if that's your bread and butter work. So maybe it is right. Maybe you're right, Vlad. It is just all going to be designers, and that's their target audience. Ads will always want a real photographer because you need to pad their invoices for a photo gig. I guess, yeah. But what else happened? Yeah, Meta's platform is free. You pay for Adobe. No, I agree, Vlad. I absolutely agree, and that is a good point. Yeah, it is free. You get to use. It's true. Yeah, it's true. You are paying. Yeah, it's true. You're getting shafted twice there for sure. It's a good point. Yeah. There's something interesting. You can't import images of money into Photoshop. Really? Someone said even money from Adobe stock image has a problem. Not tried it. Face app. Oh, yeah. Interesting. So this kind of brings me on to this kind of next point here, and Steve mentioned this to me earlier on about the Adobe stock price, right? And because it's kind of weird. because you think it's all about the shareholders and they just want number go big. I get it, but this is year to date of the Adobe stock price, and it's definitely. I mean, it's practically free falling here, right? I mean, it is cruising all the way down there. It's lost huge margin this year, but you know, if we look at the grander scheme of it here over 5 years, you know, is nowhere near as bad, is it? Right? You know, if you look at it from the start of 2024, they were at this peak and they're coming down again, but it looks like this is just fairly common for them. I mean, it just looks like they're used to it by now. But I don't know what their goal is, but they are certainly profiting on a lot of images at the moment. Yeah. So they went on to change their T's and C's. We recently rolled out a re-acceptance of our terms of use, which has led to, this is Adobe saying this, which has led to concerns about what these terms are and why they mean and what they mean to our customers. This has caused us to reflect on the language we use in our terms and the opportunity we have to be clearer and address the concerns raised by the community. What's important to note here is they're not changing anything. They're just changing the way that it's worded, right? So they're literally not changing anything at all. All they've done is just rewritten it. We've never trained generative AI on customer content, taken ownership of customers' work, or allowed access to customer content beyond legal requirements. Right? That's the important bit there, beyond legal requirements. So, yeah, we haven't broken the law because you signed it. Yeah. Adobe says that while user data is used to help improve some machine learning features, not generative AI tools like Firefly, users can always opt out. Well, now we know. Now we can do. I felt for a while that they were forcing far more on the hobbyist enthusiast markets than the pros. Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I've been saying this for years, especially when it came out, when they released their apps, right? Adobe or Photoshop itself, like the changes that they made within Photoshop were for iPad users. You know, like some of the tools and stuff that they had were really around the touchscreen aspects. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, we're making this professional piece of software in my mind, you know, and we're like tailoring it towards the iPad. Like, it's just madness. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that you're right, Sterling, and I think the reason you're right is because there's not many of us left. You'd be a fool to target market professional photographers. Absolutely, I get it, and I don't, you know, I'm not surprised, but you know, I'm certainly disappointed. A dip in 23 was due to the Figma acquisition. Oh, you mentioned that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that actually, though, Steve. To be fair, yeah. Whole push for people to use the cloud for editing and storage is obviously targeted at those types. Most pros have far too many RAWs that choose to be practical. I agree. And you can't turn off that pop-up that says, would you like to save this in the cloud? Have you guys experienced that? There's a pop-up that goes, would you like to save this in the cloud? Like, no. I want to save it on my desktop. Like, stop asking me. And I can't turn it off. It's super annoying. Lightroom Classic, the new Lightroom. Great example, Steve. Really good example. Steve says there, Lightroom Classic better than the new Lightroom. Couldn't agree more, and that is a perfect example of exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it is just not designed for us at all. Yeah. There is a way to turn it off. Well, I will Google that, Sterling, because yeah, I was not aware that I haven't been able to find it. Yeah. So this brings me on to my next point here, and the kind of the, you know, okay, Jake, is it a big deal, right? And we mentioned this before. We had somebody in chat last live stream, and they were going, look, I shared an image on Facebook and it got pulled or flagged as using AI, and I didn't. And I was like, okay, a bit weird. Anyway, chatting to him for a little bit longer. I don't think he's in chat here tonight, but chatting for a little bit longer, and he was like, it was you know, it was a football pitch or whatever, and he like extended the grass at the bottom or whatever it was. He said he just extended it and flagged as AI. I was like, Christ, it can really, it's really spotting it like that. Now, Eric Parr, photo, absolute genius, right? Is, you know, incredible light painter, does incredible stuff, and is also extremely generous with sharing behind the scenes of how he does everything. And his images last week were being tagged with made with AI, right? And I was talking to, and here he's just going, look, like, is this what we have to do now? Do we have to like literally record us taking the image to prove, that we did actually, shoot it in real life? Do we need to include the BTS so that we can prove that we did actually make it ourselves? And you might go, well, Jake, made with AI, like, what's the big deal? Like, if it's just tagged with that, what's kind of the big deal with that? Well, the big deal with that is that specifically if you're sharing images on Meta at the moment, they are heavily suppressed in the algorithm in terms of being like reach, right? Your reach is heavily suppressed. If Instagram even gets a sniff that it's been made with AI, it gets heavily suppressed at the moment, right? Which is great, because as I'm sure you're aware, some little gherkin can sit at home on Midjourney and knock out 50 images a day and be just flooding Instagram with just AI trash. So it's kind of choking it. So at the moment, Instagram does suppress the reach of AI images. So if your image is getting tagged with made with AI, the reach on your image is going to be severely suppressed, right? So looking into this a little bit further, there's a couple of reasons as to why this is kind of happening, right? So let's just grab one of your images a second. Let's have a look here. There it is. Let's just grab one of Vlad's images here, right? Let's bring that into Photoshop. So this is one of those rare real life photos that we used to see that was taken by one of those camera things, not taken with AI. So thanks for that. So cool, right? Now let's just say we want to kind of export that or whatever. Let's see. I think it's in here because I was like, can you tell in the raw data, right? Let's just put like flame, right? So if we just put AI in there now, beautiful, love that, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Incredible. Cool. Okay, so happy with the image, and I was like, can you actually find like the raw data, like file info? Because sometimes in the raw data it will have some of the processes that you've done, the layers and the adjustments and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's scripted in the raw data here, right? And this has got profiles and bits and pieces like that, but I was like, okay, can't see it. Okay. And I mean, like for example, if we do the same thing with a different image or the same image but with no AI, right? So I've done no AI on this, and file info, so exactly the same thing. So it's not really recording anything that we've done here. What you can do though, if you go to export, right, and then export as, this is kind of interesting. So down here, the metadata, right, none, content credentials beta, boom, boom, looking all good, right? No worries. This is the AI one, yeah? This is the AI one. Now we do the same thing. Export as. Boom. So metadata none, content credentials beta. A content credential will be automatically applied for Adobe Firefly generative AI use transparency, right? So it's logged the fact that you've used AI in this image. So we preview it here and it goes, used Adobe, and it used the AI model Adobe Firefly. So this document is carrying that data around with it. right? It's carrying that data around with it. And I think this is what's being flagged with people like extending a background, right? Because we can try, we can try the same thing, right? We can try the same thing. Let's go back to our image here, and we can go, do you know what? Vlad is like, this would look epic as a square. Cool. So you just extended the background a little bit. Let's look at that again. File, export as. It classes it as that. So even extending, the edges or the corners or anything like that, this triggers the use of Firefly in the data, sidecard to this image. And I think that's what's getting people flagged. I think that's what's getting people flagged on the social media platforms. One thing that's kind of interesting, though, is if we... can we... let's have a look. I'm just going to crop this and then... Can I not use the AI? How do you even do it without using the AI these days? Okay, let me just... If we had to content aware fill it, right? If we needed to crop this. And then maybe bring it back. It's still doing it. How do I stop it? Can I just crop an image, for Christ's sake? Like, without it using that? Is it always just has to... Oh, there it is. Christ. Right. So now, if we use just regular content aware, let's see if this triggers the AI. So that's content aware. That's not generative fill, that's content aware. All right, so let's see, export as... No, let me just try a new file. Surely the content aware isn't doing it as well. Right, let me just use content aware here for the sake of it. So it didn't. Okay. So that's interesting. So on that previous image, I went back in the history state, got rid of the AI stuff. I went back in the history, got rid of the AI changes to the image, and then did content aware, but it still remembered the AI changes, even though I'd gone back beyond them in the history state. Fucking hell, that's nuts. Okay. Okay. So we're just going to do one more test here. Let's see. So this one... Let me just double check. This is triggering the AI. I just want to check something. So export as... Okay, it's triggering the AI. Fine. Let me copy this into a new file. Okay, so this is a brand new file. This is with the AI flame. Export as. Okay, cool. Okay, so right. So if you want to extend the background or replace an elbow or something like that, and like whatever, like the guy from last week who, the football pitch just needed to extend the football pitch and that sort of stuff. Do your, generative AI expand, and then once you finish the file, just copy that whole file into a new document, paste it, and then save it out. That will get around it being triggered by that. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. But I think this is what's being triggered here. And look, I'm not saying that Eric did that. I don't know. I don't know. But whether he just extended a little bit of sky or sea, or like, nobody's going to begrudge him doing that, for Christ's sake. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's kind of triggered print screen. Yeah, right, Steve. Yeah. Let's have a look. We're already recording for reals. Yeah, true. I was worried about it because very often I use it to clean the backgrounds, extend the image. Exactly, Sterling. So there you go. That I mean, that's happening, right? Like, we've all used it. Like I said, I used it on shoot the other day. I just clipped the elbow of the model and, like, okay, I need to move it over. I just generative filled the elbow. Yeah, like we're all using it. We're not using it to just generate from scratch. Yeah. Even if you remove a single item, you get tagged with AI now. Careful not to melt my phone with that realistic phone. Yeah, right. Yeah. I removed the light stand and it sucked. So, it was you, Terry, right? I think it was you, Terry, the other week. Yeah, I removed the light stand and it sucked, so I deleted it and clone stamped and said, got a flag, so fully avoided it now. Nice, yeah. Even try just removing Vlad's fingers, see what happens. Yeah. But if you, for example, export the file from Lightroom or Capture One with that show up as AI, so if you import it back in there and export it out, yes, it will still. I'm fairly confident that it still has the sidecar attached to it. Yeah, as we saw, we took that image back in the history states and it still had it there, which I was pretty surprised at. Yeah. It might not, Gripes. Yeah, it might not. Yeah. Y square make it 65 and 24. I still use the old save for where, but Wonder does it in there as well. Yeah. Is this only for Photoshop 23? Could be. I mean, I'm just using the latest one, I'll be honest. So yeah, it's 2024. Yeah. What if you just copy the whole AI altered image to a new message? Exactly. Yeah. Yep, you're right, and that works. Yeah, so that does work. So, I think if you are doing that, I think just because of the reach that you get, the suppression of reach that you get, being tagged with made with AI is just not worth it. Like, if you just like I said, I don't know if Eric did this, but just extended a little bit of a black sky or whatever. Like, nobody's gonna begrudge him doing that. We all do it. Like, does he deserve to have made with AI stamp on it? No, of course he doesn't. Yeah. Print screen. Happening in Photoshop 2022. No, it definitely wouldn't be. Yeah, I'm sure there is a script on there that can remove that tag. It must be somewhere for that. If it's in the data file somewhere, yeah, it's beyond my skill set. But yeah, just strip the EXIF data. Same thing, Steve. Exactly the same thing. You can just strip the EXIF. I'm sure it'd be done there. I had a nifty free tool, but yeah. Yeah, which is what I just did then, Sterling. Yeah, if you missed it, I just copied the finished file into a new document, and it's completely gone. If you missed that, also instant, there is a new remove with AI thing in Lightroom. Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah, will that add it? I think it will, Vlad. Yeah, I think it will add all. If it's in the same Adobe ecosystem, I think it'll all have that tag. Now, I export my images once I've finalized my images in Photoshop. I'll finish the series, and then I'll kind of export them all from Lightroom, ironically, for the specific size that the client or customer or model or whatever needs them, right? So they all come out of there. So I'm kind of interested as to whether, I'm trying to think of an image that I know for a fact I've used the generative fill on. I'll have to have a look. I'll have to follow up next time. But I don't think. Was it one of these? It could even be this elbow here, right? This could have been the thing that I was trying to. I think it was one of these. I think it was one of these. I'm sure it was one of these elbows that I clipped. Maybe it was that one. Yeah. So that was exported from Lightroom, and I'm pretty sure I used it on there through for the elbow. Okay, I would need to double check, but yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think it follows. Don't think it follows it. Yeah. Tag's almost like a break, right, Terry? It is. It is definitely a brush of shame. 100%. Yeah, you just don't. You definitely do not want that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, look, broad strokes here. Some of you, Steve, I think even mentioned is like, look, subscriptions coming to an end, in September, whatever it is. Maybe I'll knock it on the head. What are the options? We got Affinity, right? You got the GIMP software as well. You definitely got options out there. Yeah. I've played with them a little bit, but I've been using Photoshop for so long. I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to have to keep sucking the teat, unfortunately. Yeah. By the way, I want an 85mm f2. Would you go 1.8, or is it worth to wait a bit and get the 1.4? Whoa. On the size that you're talking about, Vlad, I don't think you'll notice it really. When I see the size, like if it was 1.8 to 1.4 on medium format, maybe, but on the smaller 35mm chip, I don't think you'll notice it personally, unless it's something really specific that you're trying to throw out. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any other lenses that have those two apertures that you can kind of test it on to get a gauge for yourself? I've got the. I don't think I do. No, I don't think I do. I was going to say I think all of mine. I think the proper lens it goes down to f2. That's the 105. Yeah. I have 50s, AFT, both 1.8, 1.4. Okay, I mean it's worth doing a test, but I think it would be fairly marginal personally. Yeah, fairly marginal on that size. So yeah, just to wrap this up then, with this, what are you going to do? Not use it, right? If you're not going to use it, great. Cancel subscription. Affinity Photo is excellent. I have used it. It does have tons and tons, if not really all of the features that you're mostly going to be using. You got to remember how bloated Photoshop is. Like, we only use just a sliver of what Photoshop can do. So check them out. They've got a sale on, ironically. Yeah, somebody at Affinity ain't that dumb. So yeah. And if you're going to continue to use Photoshop, then just be sure to go into your, what do we say? In here, manage account. And then when you're in your account, come down to data and privacy settings. When you're in there, just turn these off. And then when you're in Photoshop, just double check. But to my knowledge, if you go into Photoshop preferences and then product improvement, and then in here, just make sure that these are unchecked as well, right? Pretty much those are your options, right? Oh, and bitch and moan about it on Twitter. You can also do that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Let's have a look. Yeah, we spoke about that. Cool. Let's have a look. It's a noticeable step because I can step down with a 3D printed oval inside. Okay, gotcha. With amazing bokeh. Affinity is cool. I like it, but only need Lightroom nowadays. Fair, yeah. I just DMs you the infographic with all the free alternatives on the Instagram. Oh, you sent it to me on Instagram? Okay. Have you not got a link that you can put somewhere? Oh, interesting. Oh shit, that is good, man. That is good. How can I? Let me just see if I can airdrop it. 2 seconds. Okay. Can you stop, please? Can I just... So Steve just sent me this on Instagram, which gives you kind of a bunch of the... Just checking that's clipping off the bottom a little bit. Yeah, which gives you kind of like the main alternatives. Photoshop, you got GIMP, Sumo Paint, Affinity, Photoline. Wow, there's loads. That's great, Steve. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. So screenshot that or whatever. Okay, good shout, Steve. Good shout. I've heard of that, Pixelmator Pro. Oh, and can you guys see that? You can't see the... There you can. So the triangle going up means single purchase, which is kind of interesting. Triangle going down means subscription. Not many triangles going down. And the blue square is free of charge. So there you go then. So you can check out some of these. These blue square ones are free of charge. Okay. Interesting. Good shout. Okay. Yeah, have a look. Try and link it. Okay. Yeah. Why you got to do it like this? I can't just put it in. Let's have a look. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So there's the link as well. If you guys want to check that out. Cool. Thanks for that, Steve. Appreciate it, mate. Okay. All right. Interesting times, guys. Yeah, interesting times. Does anybody in chat not use Photoshop? And what I mean by that is does not pay for a subscription for Photoshop. So like Vlad, for example, says, oh, I only use Lightroom, but you are still paying for it, right? Is anybody not using Photoshop in here? And if so, what are you using? Yeah. Showing the screenshot, then us screenshotting it. Let's kind of... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Christ. Showing your age there, you know. So yeah, faxes, man. Good times. Yeah. I had a pager. That's how old I am. I had a pager. Yeah. Christ, that just made me think. I remember having to phone up the poor woman at the end of the phone who had to write it out. This was back when we were skateboard scallies. And yeah. Good times, man. Good times. Right. I've got what I was saying. It's probably riveting, but we'll have to let it go. Okay. On to the images. Let's give this a quick refresh. Is there any latecomers? There we go. Oh, I see. I know. Put it away, Vlad. Come on. Leave some ladies for the rest of us. Yeah. Come on, mate. I'm actually. Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you saw a picture of yourself and you were like, ahoy, sailor. What you meant was sailing the, a pirate sailing the pirate seas. I get it, mate. I get it. I'm actually paying 2 subscriptions: Adobe Photoshop and Capture One. Oh, really, Gripes? Okay, interesting. Yeah. We used to use Capture One in the studio. I didn't really get on with it. So I use Lightroom at home. Yeah. Fax is still the gold standard of public services here in Germany. You lie. There's no way there's people in Germany using fax. You know, come on, no way. That you must be exaggerating. It's wild. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look. I forget, you see, because you PC users can kind of circumvent certain things, right? That I guess us Mac users can't. But yeah, I mean, I won't lie. We had dodgy copies of Photoshop at college for sure. Yeah. I've used Darktable. Yeah, it's supposed to be very good. Yeah, Free Lightroom Alternative and Gimp in the past. They're good. Yeah, they are good. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're good. Oh, Hans coming in late. Beautiful. Look at the caliber of images in here. Look at this. Look at this. Hey. I got Capture One for free with Sony, but I think they've knocked that on the head. Oh, it does ring a bell. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Is it permanent Capture One, Steve? Do you get, like, are you permanently free? Do you need updates? Like, do you have to use it offline? Like, what's the deal with that? Once you have it, do you have it? Because Capture One is just buy once, right? Okay. So, Blood says, CC welcomed. Can you talk about what films would you have used back in the day for this kind of situation, or in general for darker, moody work inside where you want saturated results? Here I'm emulating the Fuji Superior 200 printed on Kodak 2383 D60, both profiles that generate with curves. Okay. And with my grain and saturation fall off preset. Again, you're getting into the weeds with these now, Vlad. This is no longer just whacking on some grain later on. We'll post more in the comments. Also, do you like my window? Oh, this is your fake window, Vlad. That's nice, man. That's effective. Yeah. Did not spot that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, nice. Wait, is that the original? That's nice, Vlad. That original. Like, don't take this the wrong way. Obviously, your final image is beautiful, but that is nice. Like, those skin tones. So what are you using there? You're using... Here I'm using the Fuji Superior 200. Okay. That's nice. Yeah. We just used to shoot Velvia back in the day. Yeah, shoot Velvia. And I mean, it's what we could get our hands on, really, ISO wise. But yeah, it was typically the 200s and 400s. Yeah. I'd have to dig out the negs. I do have them here. God knows where they are, but I do have them. Yeah, they'll be on the rebate. Yeah. I'll be honest, Vlad. At the moment, I'm just shooting the Lomo 100 on the 120, right? So, and it's actually pretty good. Like, it's pretty good. Yeah, I just got some. I think you saw in a post on Friday. I just said I just got some images back, and we can leave this for another stream. But I hadn't used this lab before. I asked this lab because they had an option. It was just like scans to be color and contrast corrected or flat gray. So I was like, okay, I'll go with the flat gray. I mean, talk about understatement. I mean, it was just nuts. I don't have the negs back yet, and I'm guilty of leaving the films up there for too long. But I mean, gray, Christ, these. Like, I was like, these don't have any contrast at all. So I need to see whether it was the actual negs are super thin, or whether their facility of scanned flat grey is crazy flat grey. But yeah, so interesting. Yeah, so I'm just using the Lomo 100 just because it's cheaper, right? The other one is going to be the Portrait 200. Yeah. So look, I kind of do like this a lot, and one of the reasons I kind of like this a lot, it's nothing wrong with the one you've done, is just the red for me is just too distracting. And I think that you could maybe get away with it if we had something balanced over here somehow, right? But to have one area of red like that when it's that bold, we kind of need to be careful with the color weight, as it were, right? And you've probably been looking at this image, for forever now. And one thing that I kind of like to try and do, if I'm getting kind of like photo blind to it, is just to kind of flip it, right? And I used to do this as a kid when I was drawing, when I was drawing whatever I was drawing, and I was like, oh yeah, it's going really well, it's looking cool, and I take it into the bathroom and look at it in the mirror, and I'd be like, it's horrendous. So getting a fresh perspective on the images is a trick I used to do as a kid, and it still works now. You can do it in Photoshop, and you just kind of flip it, and you can kind of see an image. Your eyes can see an image fresh for the first time, and you may well see that this is kind of like, oof, yeah, is kind of a bit heavy, right? I think you may be able to get away with that red if you were to bring more red into the rest of the image, maybe, get away with it then. That color range though. Yeah, I don't need to do this. I don't know why I'm doing it. I was just kind of curious. I need to mask out the face in a minute, but oh, it's a vector mask. Like, what the hell? Yeah, so my point being is I feel like that red either needs to be balanced out, or it needs to be dialed back, or we need to kind of add more red to the rest of the image, like skin wise, like in the yellows, so yeah, I would. Just to kind of balance it out a little bit. But yeah, love that. Love that kind of fake window you've got there with the window blind and the curtains, and it's so easy, right? It's just super convincing. It is funny how easy the eyes are to kind of trick. You just like hold a couple of, I mean, it just could be anything, like a couple of white towels or white sheets up there, and you probably get away with it. Yeah. But again, I will say I do love this kind of. I don't know. I do love the kind of tones that we have here. Really nice. Yeah. We've got a shot from Hans here. Good evening, Jake. Has been some time. I visited here. Photo from a while back. Corner of my living room. Nice. Available light from window. Left hand reflector on the right table. Lamp behind us. CC is welcome, if you will. Beautiful. I mean, love the colours, Hans. Yeah, really nice colours. Yeah. Let's have a look. You can as well on Mac. Oh, for the sailing Pirate Seas, yeah. I can capture one for free. Oh yeah, I stopped on the solo versions. They only have the normal version now, and the studio version, I believe. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm talking about Capture One, right? It was Sony only version. Interesting. They used to have solo, Fuji, Canon, Sony version, I believe. Really interesting. Made my own tools. Now I'm using them big time. Good for you, Vlad. Yeah. Velvia is the predominantly bluish one, right? It is definitely colder. Yeah, 100% colder. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I keep mixing Velvia Provia. Vlad needs some brown gels. He does need some, and then finish up with some gold gels. The gold ones are my favourite. Looked at that image for like 10 minutes. Yeah, it's really difficult, man. Yeah. But flipping stuff with my face in it seems so odd. Yeah, true, Vlad. Yeah, if it's you in it, yeah, true. Yeah. It's not even a curtain, just a drop cloth. No, it's exactly, yeah. It would have been nice with some smoke mist. You can't have any more smoke in that. Like, it's already cloudy. Yeah. You already got some sort of filter in there, right? There's definitely got data in these shadows. To come back to Hans' image here, loving the colors, right? Really, really nice colors here, and with the warm tones, and the skin's got a nice glow to it. We can see the highlights and stuff here. We've got this nice glow and stuff, which is kind of cool. And so he was asking for some CC here, and this is, overall this is really nice. I think there's a couple of things that we could, maybe look at doing differently next time. And like, I love the depth here. I love this kind of subtle interest, but not distracting back here. I love this glow coming out from around the hair. Just watch the skin here is getting like almost a little bit greeny. So just watch that. I mean, one trick for that, which I've shown you guys, several times in the past, but it's worth reminding you. Is just create a new color layer. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen that orange, but I mean, he's mask it out and that sort of thing, but it just takes away some of that green, right? And I should have chosen a better color personally. I've just chosen orange that I wasn't overly happy with. So let's try like more of a skin tone in here. Yeah, there you go. That's better. Oh, that's better straight away. Okay, cool. Yeah. So just, getting rid of some of that weird discoloration there. The other kind of issue that I have with this issue is a bit strong, but it's very bright down here from, what did you say? You got a reflector down there, you said? Living room, available light from the window on the left. Nice, yeah. Handheld reflector on the right. And table lamp behind her. Yeah. So we got this, maybe, I don't know, gold reflector or something like that down there. But then because you're looking away from the window, we have these kind of weird pockets of shadow. So, and this is going to be tricky to advise on, because it's personal preference. But her looking to her right would have opened up for some beautiful lighting on the face on that side, because she would have been lit by that sunlight coming on this side, and then we could have filled in the shadows a little bit more naturally. The other thing that's kind of happening here is that it's kind of, this is almost brighter than this up here because her face is in the shadow and so much of that light is being bounced back in there. So it's almost like you could have had that reflector up a little bit higher to get brighter on the face here. So really all I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to take away some of that focus here, So here we've just added just the white. We can kind of warm that up a little bit just to match the warmth we've got back there. Okay, so certainly not perfect, but you should start to see a shift with where the eyes go. Right? So you can see it now, right? Where like our eyes are definitely drawn to that bottom right corner, compared to this. Yeah. So just going to be, where we place that reflector, and just to have a little bit more light coming up into the face, so that we're kind of guiding the viewer around, and we're just kind of keeping the focus on the face like that. But beautiful set though, and I love the final grade that you've gone for with it. I think it works really well. Yeah, it's cool. Let's have a look. I got a UV with white spray paint on it. Nice. Act like a smoke filter. It raises the blacks level big time and also reduces the contrast. Nice. Have you tried it with black paint yet, Vlad? Or is it you're a big fan of the white spray paint? Yeah. David Dubinsky vibes. Okay. Not starting the smoke machine in this weather. yeah, true. Yeah. I thought okay. Thank you. Yeah, no worries, Hans. Yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Appreciate you sharing an image, and it is a beautiful image, man. It's a beautiful image, but hopefully, kind of what I've outlined there kind of made a little bit of sense with the reflector. I know why you were doing it. It's because it was a dark shadow area, and you wanted to pop some light in there, and it's good. But we just if we were going to keep the face where it is, we definitely need to make sure that the face is the focus. Now, you probably could have left that reflector where it is now, had she turned to her right, and that light was just like pouring past it. Probably would have been bright enough that this reflector here would have been absolutely fine. Yeah, very cool shot though. So we've got a shot here from Nico. Hello, first time sharing my work here. Welcome. First time. A little bit of a virgin on our hands. Love to see it. This is from today's shoot. Any CC, be welcome. Today's shoot. Oh my god, he's getting them retouched out the door already. Hey, what a legend. Awesome. Love this technique. Big fan of this technique. And, love the colours that you're going for here. Really nice. And, look, I think overall this is excellent. I really don't think there is too much we need to be changing here. Looks like you've got the lights balanced really nicely. The blue is super clean here with the fill. It's not falling on the front of the face in any way. It looks like it's only coming from below. We can see it nicely under the eyebrows here and those. It's really just coming straight up. And not only that, but it's very even. You've got a very even blue tone there. So that looks like it's looking good. Orange is not overpowering, or it's not too dark. Looks like you got a good mix there as well, mixing the the flash with the white and the blue, and then the orange being a long exposure. So it looks like you got like the hardest part done. My only kind of issue with this is really going to be the light on the face and the kind of the pose in relation to that light. I love the fact that you've got that light up super high, but if we're going to do that, I feel like our chin kind of just always kind of needs to be up towards that light, as opposed to kind of down a little bit, so that we have these hooded eyes, and then we also start to get these kind of lines in here and here, as opposed to just bringing kind of that angling that cheekbone to the light. So just bringing it up a little bit. And again, I understand why you've got that key light there, is because you're trying to keep it off the blue gel, keeping it real crisp. And like I said, I think the lighting placement and everything is pretty much bang on. We just need to kind of look at the pose and how we can kind of have that synergy between pose and light. And this is not something that many people have to deal with. If you're just shooting regular in a studio, regular portrait stuff, models can get away with looking wherever they want. But with our work here, when we're doing very targeted, kind of technical lighting where the lights are super close, the pose has to be bang on. So it's usually just going to be the case of asking her to bring her chin up all the time. I always joke to models. I say, I'm gonna get a T-shirt made that says "chin up," because, you know, they're not used to the light being kind of up there all the time. Brilliant shot though, really nice. Thanks for the comment, Jake. Little nosy here where I am now, so I'll watch the video again later. Yeah, no worries, man. Oh, noisy. I was just being nosy. It's like, crack on. No worries, man. No worries, Hans. Take it easy. Thanks for sharing the image, yeah. Grab Hicks. I submitted a photo too, so it'd be great if you could refresh the comment section. Wow. Wow. Okay. We got Chris. We got... This is, oh, you're, this one. This is you, Gripes, is it? This is Chris. Look at that. Next in line. This is good, man. This is good, yeah. Here's my submission for CC. This is you, yeah, no worries, Gripes, yeah. The model is a friend of mine. We just roamed around the city and had a themed photo shoot. Also used some fake blood. This was shot back in October when I was in Vienna. I was going to ask where this is, yeah. Lit with available light from street lamps and used a Godox TL30. Oh, the little tubes with red color as a fill. This is like the first time somebody's given me a string of letters and numbers and I've actually known what you were talking about. Usually I don't color grade my photos with this orange into a greenish look, but I thought it would fit the atmosphere. Oh man, yeah, I think the grading in this you've absolutely nailed, man. Yeah, I was going to be like literally my first comment. I would say that you definitely nailed the grading, and I think it definitely works, right, with the reds and the greens that you've gone for here, especially when we are going for like a shot that is a little bit, actually, should we say, there's like a story going on here, right? We can see that something's going on with her eyes. She's got blood on her face, you know, and like she's whatever, you know, doing something, wiping the blood off her mouth or whatever. Like there's definitely a little bit of a story here, and I think whenever we kind of do that, I think it kind of opens up the door to us to be able to, you know, push the grade a little bit further, and you know, yeah, love what we've gone for here for sure. Like immediate feedback is nothing's really jumping out at me. I love the glow that we got here. I love it kind of, you know, this leads us in to her quite nicely. We've got enough data back here. You know, this is not jet black. This is kind of like deep dark grey green color. You got a tiny bit of a glow behind the buildings and stuff there. Like, you know, the lighting is bang on, man. I mean, even the red here I think is it's not overdone, right? I think it's very easy when we're out on location to kind of overdo it with supplemental lighting, especially with colors, and just be like, you know, is dominating the shot. And I think that we can feel like we have to, you know, prove or, you know, show off that we're using additional lighting, right? Well, that's not the case. You know, if we're using supplemental lighting like this, it should complement the light that's already there. And I would say that tube is definitely doing that. It's complementing the light that's already there, plus, you know, it could be what the, you know, the red tail lights of a car just out of shot. Like it doesn't feel fake or added in any way. So I would say what you've done there in balancing that is kind of harder to do than people think. You know, I think you've got it bang on. Yeah, honestly, you know, nothing jumping out at me. Even the skin tones look even across the face and the hands and all that sort of stuff. It's, yeah, this is a good one, man. Yeah, good one for sure. Yeah. It is. It feels like there's something here, but that, you know, you can't do anything about that. There wasn't anything there. You know, for it to be balanced, we would have something here, but there was nothing there on the day. That's not up to you, but yeah, it's nice. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Like it. Did you take a bunch of these, or was this just the one that straight out of camera and comments? Nice. Okay, yeah, cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm always glad I'm able to see these images before I see the straight out of cameras, because I think I would definitely be biased if that wasn't the case. Like if I saw the raw at the same time. I'm glad that I can see the images before I see the raw. But yeah, you can see the red here is nicely balanced. It's not too bright at all. Yeah, yeah. Christ, what Kelvin you shooting out there? He's shooting pretty cold, right? What I've done in the past is copy the background from the left, duplicate. Yeah, yeah. I mean, in my mind, Steve, I was thinking that, but I think it would be. I was tempted, like, you just want, like, and one of these lights here would be cool, but it would be difficult to make it look legit when in there. But you're right, it is an idea. Yeah, yeah. I've got quite a few from the set. I think the daylight balance, but I can check. That seems pretty cold to me, but I mean, it's raw anyway. It's fine. You know, you can always adjust it. But yeah, yeah. There's actually a ton of information in that one, right? In that file, you're able to bring out. It's kind of interesting. Photoshop zoom thing, man. I suppose because the file's small, yeah. It's either massive or small. Just having a little bit of a play here, so I was just gone silent whilst I was concentrating on that. Sorry. Is Photoshop dying, or are we good, Photoshop? Not allowed anymore. Thanks. Thanks. Oh shit, delete too many. Just going to do it again. Right, I'm going to give up. There we go. Yeah, there's definitely a lot you can do when it's just two colours like that, right? Just make it look a little bit more natural, but... yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot you can do with that one for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's cool. Yeah. Like any shots like that where you kind of like two-tone works really well. Especially with the colour grades, yeah. Kind of built for it. Right, let's have a look. Tungsten. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was on tungsten to neutralise those. You neutralise those bulbs. Yeah. Very instant. Yeah, right. Shot on. Yeah. So super. Yeah. So super cold to kind of neutralise it, and you know, fine. Like you're shooting raw anyway, so it's fine. Yeah. Because I initially wanted to rather cold look, but then it's to play around. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I, you know, I don't mind the cold look. I mean, you saw as well then before I kind of color graded it. Like you can definitely make it work with the blue, right? Yeah. Yeah. It definitely very vampire masquerade. Yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. Always good to see what you guys are working on. Yeah, red hair with the green shadows. Yeah, the red hair definitely makes it pop. Yeah. There's one from Sterling here. CC, not my fave from the shoe yesterday, but it does show the star filter effect. Oh, that's right, Sterling. Yeah, well done for giving that a go. Yeah. It did not show up well with the long exposures. I'm going to try again. 300 watt LED with Fresnel behind, shooting down, ones in front either side, using 80 watt bones with the snoot to illuminate face. This is good stuff, Sterling, man. This is really nice. This is good stuff. Yeah. And I think it kind of works. I think it works with regards to like the headdress, you know. So we've got the headdress and this, you know, kind of very religious star thing going on behind, but I think with the abstract headdress thing, I think it works. I think it works, right? I also kind of like this kind of glow halo effect. It's not just a star filter. We've got a lot of artifacts in here as well, which is really popping. So let me just read this again. This is 300 watt LED Fresnel behind, so that's the star. That's what's creating the star. Ones in front. Oh, by ones you mean what, tubes, right? Used an 80 watt Bowens with snoot to illuminate the face. Yeah. Could have used some great fucking help, lads. You need help. Just got the headpiece, loved it. Yeah, I think it works really well. Yeah, so the ones, are they tubes? So we got this blue here on the back. Like that blue is coming from behind. They are tubes. Yeah. Okay. We got blue on the dress here. Okay. I mean, look, I think the pose is good when we're looking at poses and we're trying to create like a dynamic image. Triangles, right? Triangles are always going to be a winner. So if you're ever stuck, always be looking for those triangles. And the same thing, happens all over the place. But when we can you start to get a very dynamic pose as soon as you start creating those, which is nice. One thing on this, but when models are doing this with their hands, just get them to flip their hand around, rather than all the fingers being on the hip. Just get them to flip their hand around like that. It just tidies up the image, right? Just less fingers on show, and it also means that if we flip the hand around, we see the thinnest part of the wrist as well. So it's something that you use in fashion a lot, right? You just flip the hand around, and it'll just show the thinnest part of the wrist, and it'll get rid of the fingers. But other than this, man, I think I'm trying to work out what's going on with this blue light. I like the blue light on the body here. I'm just trying to work out, we have another blue light back there coming through the legs or something. Not sure where it's coming from, but love the reflections on the dress. Works really well. Yeah, it's good stuff. Trying to do a teapot pose. Yeah, you keep that to yourself, Andre. Yeah. Home shoots only. Gray was putting what are we talking about? Oh, Grabs is talking about the grain. Funnily enough, I did add some grain, but apparently it wasn't enough to show up. Okay, yeah. Sharpener slider and light is under the grain tool. Okay, cool. Okay, Stevie up. I use Capture One, but there should be something similar. Yeah, there is. Yeah, just lying behind it. Okay, so this is kind of a petty thing, but just be wary of any light coming up from below. It just never kind of looks good. So I understand what you were going for. I do, but any light that's kind of coming up from below and catching highlights like this is counteracting the light that we have from the front. So look, don't get me wrong, Sterling. This is a great shot, and you know, look, you're a regular on here, so I am picking holes. But yeah, just be really kind of mindful of, you know, light that's going to be creating highlights from below, especially when that is contradicting the light that's coming from the front, right? So we have highlights on the front, and then we have highlights from behind. It doesn't, yeah. It's just something to watch out for, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I know, I absolutely know why you were doing it. If money was no object and time was no object, yeah, you would absolutely do what you were doing. Is just you would kind of maybe, you know, do it a different way. You would maybe have, maybe you'd have like a Neo 3, for example, pointing back towards her, and that would kind of catch the legs, but from above, right? Now, granted, you'd have to get rid of a light stand and yada yada yada, all that sort of thing. And I totally know why you were doing it, and you're doing it for the right reasons, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, the star filter with long exposure that you mentioned, it's an interesting idea. I have not tried it. In theory, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. Yeah, I'm kind of interested with long exposure with like cheap LEDs that would kind of pulse. You know, have you done light painting with light blades and the LED is flickering and you get this kind of step effect with the light blades? It could be actually kind of cool to get that with a star filter as well, because each pulse would kind of, you'd see a different star as opposed to the star being completely smeared. Could be cool. Yeah, it could be cool. Yeah, they probably have some way to do output channels as well. I was talking about that fucking grain. Good to do that. Perfect. Yeah, no worries, Sterling. Good luck, man. Good luck. Abdullah, how you doing, man? Hi, Jake. Looking forward to your feedback. Thank you very much in advance. I mean, this is good. This is good. I you know, I think we got a clean looking shot here. Grade is pretty powerful, right? Pretty bold. I don't have an issue with that. Leaning into that green color, that almost like that fluorescent overhead, like fluorescent colors, works well here. Yeah. Like with daylight, you know, there's not a huge amount that stands out to me as being off. I'm just kind of looking at the weight of the composition here. Yeah, it just feels like there's too much on that side, and then there's just too much of that space on that side with him being too far over. But otherwise, like, you know, this is the golden ratio, right? Getting into that spiral golden ratio. Also got these, you know, this leading line coming down through it here. I think this is good stuff. Yeah, I think it's a good shot. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you see what Gripes did a minute ago, where he had like an LED light on site with him, just to maybe add something to it, and it could be cool to play with a different color here somewhere, just to add a little bit of interest. But it looks pretty bright there. I think you'd struggle with an LED, just to give a little bit of focus to the face, because everything's pretty flat here, right? We've got a little bit of shadow here, but it's very soft. So maybe even just a little bit of a pop somewhere on the face, or just add a shot here, just to give us maybe even like a backlight. Maybe even if you had it like just a light on the step up here, right? And just maybe if it was blasted down, it could just maybe like catch the back of the head there, just to give us a little bit of separation there, you know. So like the light was up here, just on the step, just out of shot, blasting across him there, just to give a little bit of extra dimension to him. Could be something to look at. Yeah. Cool though. Yeah, very cool. Thanks for sharing that one. Let's have a look. Esther Boldly sent the inspiration images. Oh, is it? Bless her. A woman of fine taste. You know, what can I say? Vlad says they do have sharper than export. Oh my god. Love it. So last but not least, Jamie said he was having a grandkid or something, and apparently that was more important than this stream. Seems a bit rude, but did this in that there London the other weekend using the LED tubes with the Rotalites. I was going to say from Rotalight. Again, to maximize the shine, I've been getting EOS 2 Pro in front nice and high, nice Neo 3 Pro behind, and on the floor with 4 tubes placed out of shot. Smoke machine for the background. So this is good stuff, man. I mean, you know, Jamie's hitting nothing but home runs at the moment. These are all bangers, and you know, he's really found his stride. And you know, if you guys aren't aware of what he's doing here, so we've got the EOS, you know, panel here on the face, which is nice. We've got the background light there, and then what he's doing with these tubes, you can see the reflections of the tubes. So this is something that, in my opinion, people just do not do anywhere near enough of, and that is add lights to images as specular highlights, right? So these lights are not really adding light to the scene, but they are adding like these specular highlights to the shot. So these lights aren't really lighting this black latex here, but they are adding these highlights to the shiny object. And this is something that still life shooters is like bread and butter for them, like wine bottles and, you know, silver taps for the bathroom, like anything that's going to be shiny like that. Car photographers as well, right? Car photographers, you know, we would, you know, if you're just doing like you're doing the shot and you've got the hubcap and you just have this kind of this round light that you'd place, and that light isn't illuminating the wheel in any way, but it's just adding this nice round highlight, specular highlight onto the shiny surface. And like this is not something that you see people doing that much anymore, especially with portraits, but you see it in cinema all the time. You see these nice, because they'll have all the, you know, the models will all be spritzed up in LA, sweaty or whatever, and you have these gorgeous kind of highlights on the face, and that's due to the size of the modifier and how close it is, not necessarily how bright it is. And I think it's kind of a bit of a slept on technique, and it's something that I'd love to see more of. I'll come back to Jamie's image in a minute, but do you guys remember earlier on I showed you this image here? And this image here, I'm using this on my camera, and really all that's doing is adding the specular highlight to the face there. there's a super soft fill light lighting her body, but it's not giving a catch light because I'm stood in the way of it, right? So that catch light, that specular highlight, is coming from me holding this here, right? Just on the camera. And this is kind of what I'm talking about here, and this is a similar thing to what Jamie's doing. He's using the shape and size of his modifier, light in this instance being a tube, to create those specular highlights. This is really, really cool. Yeah, beautiful stuff, Jamie. Really nice. Really nice. Even like you got the God rays coming up here. Yeah, the only thing that I'm kind of struggling with is how bright this highlight is here. Yeah. Like it's fairly distracting. Obviously, we could fine tune that, but you know what I mean. We want the attention to be, and I'm only zooming out so that you don't see the crappy edges that I've got there. But yeah, I think we want the attention to be more up there, so I just keep that. Yeah, I mean you could do a radial grad rather than just flat paint, and that'll help for sure. Yeah, makes it worse. Yeah, I think definitely try it. Yeah, I think definitely try it, especially if you had a grad there. I think you'd probably be fine, right? Always the wrong way. No matter what I do, it's always the wrong way. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's potential just to get rid of that, and that would keep the focus up here on the top half of the image. Personally, yeah, it'd be good. Yeah, good stuff though. I mean, look, it's a great shot, Jamie. Yeah, it really is an excellent shot. Nothing to worry about at all. You know, and I hope the birth of your first grandchild went well. I hope it was worth it. Yeah. Great list, like absolutely brilliant. Yeah, sample the color from the thigh. You could do, but I was trying to get the background. Yeah, I mean the white line is a nice tweak. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Just because when it's gone, like her white face is just pops in. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think you spend a couple of minutes on tweaking that a little bit if you wanted, just in terms of, you know, tidying up that bright light down there. But otherwise, it's all good, man. Yeah, it's all good. I think this is the best set of images I've ever seen here. Wow, Sterling. Wow, you realise you are sat amongst your peers here who have been sharing images. You just dunked on everybody. Jamie is now enemy number one. Love it, love it. Oh, and Andre as well. Oh my God, shots fired. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. But look, guys, you know, I love you all equally. But no, look, I mean, like the caliber of work always shared here is excellent, though. It is always extremely good. You know, I've certainly seen whatever it is, you know, other people, you know, other pages where they share images and that sort of stuff, and it is like, it's fine, but it's mostly just cheesy glamour stuff, and like we don't get any of that crap here, which is really nice. I mean, not that it each their own, but yeah, I think the stuff that is shared here is extremely high, you know, quality wise. You know, where else do we get to see, you know, Vlad in his t-shirt, right? You have to come here for that, guys. But yeah, and also as well, I really thank and commend anybody that shares an image, because it takes balls to share an image anywhere, but here especially when the caliber is so high. So I really do appreciate you guys putting those images out there. Always a pleasure to go through them and see what you guys are working on, and yeah, thank you for doing so. So I think we're gonna kind of wrap this up now, getting on to the end here. If then you've got any questions, any burning questions about anything that we covered, or links that you want or anything like that, then let me know. I'm just going to wrap up with, you know, my sponsored segment of the stream. Don't forget, check out my online workshops where I'm doing the online one-to-ones with you guys. Still doing a few of those, which has been fun. I do regular mentoring sessions with people as well from anywhere across the world. So definitely check those out. But yeah, all of my kind of more advanced and detailed techniques are all kind of gone over in these workshops, whether that be projectors or cinematic or long exposure. We go into a lot of detail in those, so check those out if you're interested in taking it further. Do that. I've got the mentoring one here as well, so check out the other options that include, you know, the retouching as well as, you know, business bits and pieces as well. Take a look at those. And yeah, it's good stuff. Okay. I always go back to badly photoshopped family to make myself feel better. Yeah, true. But yeah, Steve, hope you feel better soon, mate. Thanks for hanging out, even though you were snorting pop star lines of Lemsip straight from the sachet. I respect it. No worries, Andre. No worries. Yeah. Don't Gripes. It doesn't let you. You just get instantly banned. Yeah, it's not up to me, Gripes. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why it happens. Actually, I need to turn that off. As the intro song suggests, nothing here is black and white. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Do it again in the next couple of weeks. You know, feel free to come with any links of products and bits and pieces that you've, you know, come along recently found, and bits and pieces that we can check those out. But yeah, it has been a good one. No worries, Steve, mate. Take it easy. And once I find the window to close the stream, there we go. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Take it easy. Bye for now.